Hello, guys. How are you doing? I hope coming in on our nice, chill new intro worked well for you. Hi, Lock and Load. I'm your good boy from a bad future, Ravenwing, and today we are going to be way more chill than that intro probably implies. Uh, let's bring our intro music down a little. We're definitely going to keep the peaceful rain sounds, and we actually have a little bit of. Will this work? We're doing many new things today. Yay! So, welcome. In case you may not know this, am a dungeon master and game master and storyteller. Get out of my way. There we go. Dungeon Master, Game Master, Storyteller across Dungeons and Dragons 5th Edition, and also, as of the last 2 years, Cyberpunk RED. I am very, very proud, very proud to say that I just wrapped up the first major storyline in my Cyberpunk RED campaign. Can you hear it now? I'll call out some of my players like to watch these streams. I will let you know once we enter spoiler territory, and you're safe for now. You're safe for now. Where was I? So, yeah, we wrapped up the first existing storyline. It went really. You hear rain? Hold on. Ooh, is it not working? Ooh, I'm getting feedback over here. Alright, well, this chill stream is not going to work if we don't have... Almost! 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 Alright, let me do... this. What if I do that? How about that? How about that? Better, better, better? Let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay. Okay. We had to jury rig that, but it was working. Never done this before. This is wild. You are going to hear all of my system sounds, but you're just going to have to deal. Anyway, just brought the first arc of my Cyberpunk RED campaign to an end. I am immensely proud of how it went. Players seemed really happy with it. It took us about 19 months to get through. I've been DMing 5e for the better part of 10 years. I concluded one whole campaign, and I am close to concluding my second long-form campaign. And the first campaign took, give or take, about like 5 years to run and bring to its conclusion. And the second campaign is probably going to be cruising in at about like 4-ish. So I say all this to say I'm a pretty experienced dungeon master, and I found a bunch of different ways to write and plan and conceive of and execute campaigns over the years. And what I'm going to be doing today is kind of a condensed, stream-friendly, free-form, creative think space. I'm going to expose, I think, bits about the way I approach productivity, but I also suspect I'm mostly just going to end up yapping about sci-fi and cyberpunk. So, if you're good with that, let's make some stuff together. And if you have any writing projects on your plate right now, feel free to crack those open. We will be breaking these down. Any players watching, I love you very dearly, but we are just about at the point where you are going to need to log off. First thing we are going to do is we are doing a major cyberpunk storyline. All characters but one managed to survive. No, that's not true. I killed 2 of them. I have a big table. I have 6 players, which is too many for a very lethal system. Do I want to do a mind map? I'm not super familiar with this system, but what I have in real life is like a big cork board that I do like a plot board with when I want to conceptualize new things. So I'm trying to make it work digitally. So I think, what do I got here? What do I got here? What do I got here? I got a step. Ooh, that's charming. Ooh, that's charming. Okay. So first thing is that we're making something in a cyberpunk setting, and so that's Deus Ex. We're listening to music from Deus Ex. It's very, very good, but I do need it to chill a little. Can I just type in here? Sick. Okay. So we need to keep in mind ground rules as we do this. So core tenets of cyberpunk at our table. I need a new keyboard. This is the most you're going to see my typing, and you're going to see that I need to replace my keyboard. Ooh, it automatically bullet points for me. Cool. I want a red background. Can I just get a brutal, evil red background? Ooh, the white on red's nice, actually. I'm down for that. Okay, what's the old Mike Pondsmith quote? Cyberpunk is a warning, not an aspiration. We're going to put down our core tenets here, both for ourselves and for our approach to the setting as we do all of this at the table. Second thing, for my table specifically, how do I put this? You want your players to know that consequences exist in the world. You don't want your players to come away from sessions not wanting to come back next week. So it's good for things. Ooh, chat's just not there at all, man. Ooh, why is that? Who knows? That's fine. You know what? Oh, there's my chatting overlay. It's blocking you. Well, what kind of dummy organized it that way? Not this guy. So, I, in advance of running this campaign, had private discussions with all the players about content warnings, lines, and veils. But, so I feel like we're in comfortable territory there. To be honest, I am not going to say don't do a session 0, but I am going to say that I think people overemphasize the importance of a session 0 sometimes, when in fact what they need to be emphasizing is making sure all the players are simply on the same page. So like for a cyberpunk go ahead, I just did for Daggerheart, and I'm going to be doing a few more as I rope in some more Daggerheart players. But I think mostly, you know what's happened when I've run a session 0 multiple times now? I try to treat it like the tutorial level, and then the players go, I don't think I'm going to remember this, I'm just going to figure it out when we get to the table. Every single time. They go, yeah, but I'll just figure it out when we get to the table. And so they don't actually learn anything from it, but they can learn about the tone. Tone is so important at the table, and I think especially in Cyberpunk. So intensity is good. Cyberpunk is, especially RED, Cyberpunk is a very violent, very desperate setting. Heads explode, limbs get blown off constantly. You can describe the shooting intestines, and it'll be like it'll fly for the tone of the setting. But amidst all of that, what I try to do is minimize bombers. This does mean respecting players' triggers, which we've communicated about in a few places, but unfortunately to a certain extent it does just mean prepping yourself in advance with here's the level of content, here's themes I expect to touch at the table, and then just falling back on, unfortunately, if you have an issue, I'm human and I'm happy to work things out with you. But we did discuss a lot of this in advance, and so we're like, just let me know what I can do to make you comfortable, but honor the table that you asked people to commit to, I think, and ask them to honor it with you. So, needs to be intense. Needs to be intense. In fact, we'll say it's maybe this. Intensity necessary, bummers aren't. It is not just neon and rain, I say, as a man who loves him some neon and rain. Let's get our rain sounds back, huh? I'm certain we have a few others. And we're going to talk about cyber and punk as two separate things in just a second. Are we playing the same track? Ah, we're doing some Deus Ex Human Revolution now. So, this is going to be more specific. I accomplished a lot that I'm really proud of in our first arc. It was this big smash 'em up arc about starting as just a bunch of street kids looking for reputation who are roped into a conflict larger than themselves, and then they end up not wounding a corp, but definitely publicly embarrassing one, which is just about the most I'm comfortable with allowing players to do in a cyberpunk setting. You can't... Everybody wants to do a Johnny Silverhand storyline, but not everybody's capable of writing Johnny Silverhand, and I certainly am not. And I think you can't just fall back on like, and then you shoot up the corporation, because that's not like it's not a compelling storyline, and it removes all gravitas from the setting. Like, I guess you could, but it's not going to make that big a difference. So it was this whole big 1.5 year long storyline about like chemical weapons and money and power, and they black-eyed a corp bad enough and embarrassed them bad enough that it set them back a little bit, and that's really, really good. But for that reason, I want this to not a corp storyline. We did a corp storyline. We just did a corp storyline. We are not going after a corporation, which means keep it street level. There is so much that you can do with Night City's streets, and if you make every single storyline about going after Arasaka. What app is this? Let's find... I forget the site. I think this is Mural? Hey, he's endless. Let's go. Yeah, this is Mural. This is Mural, which is very good. Music up. Music up there. There we go. Hold on, I want this to loop a little. Give me some Zenless. Yeah, Mural's very, very, very cool. It's very, very, very cool. It is normally used, I have found, with people for boring work meetings where they ask everybody to contribute. And now I am using it to actually make something. So we're keeping a street level story this time, and also I want to make it not epic. If there is an issue I have with the first storyline I put together, it's that it is such a D&D writer storyline of like a big bad and dark evil secrets and obvious villains, and it's like a singular totemic thing to be working towards. But the end result of that is that it is such a good guys, bad guys, big conflict, working towards the boss fight. And that's like not... I don't think it's a bad mode of Cyberpunk, but it's kind of... it almost feels like it's not the intended mode. The intended mode of Cyberpunk, honestly, is like, you do a gig, you spend some money, you do a gig, you spend some money, and like you let the stories of the street kind of naturally unfold as you go. So not epic, very personal. I want this to be very personal. And bluntly, I have been playing this game for 1.5 years. I should have killed more than 2 player characters. I simply should have killed... It's like... I am not a person who specifically antagonizes PCs. I don't think that's a fun or interesting way to approach... It can be a fun or interesting way to approach tabletop, but it's not necessarily a way that I think always makes people want to come back to your table. All right, we'll probably add to these over time, but I think we're good for now. So we're gonna start here. What is punk? Huh? Yes, Superman. Kindness. This, why we're making this will make sense in just a second. Give me another. How do I make more? No, I need more. You know what? We can work with this. So, kindness. Let's see. Oh, that's how I can do that? Interesting. I don't think we need that. Okay, what are ways... Do I need to do this a different way? How do I do... I want to add more. Ooh, am I dumb? Am I literally a moron? I am. Look at this cool new thing I've made. Ooh, I'm kind of liking this app. Punk is expressing yourself. Honestly. And this is just, honestly, I think this is baked into the system in a certain way. But I want to focus on kindness because of what I know I want to do in this arc. And I'll get there in a sec. What is kindness in a punk way? It is protecting communities that have nowhere else to turn. Yep. I feel really good about that. What is kindness in a punk way? It is being there for people, even if social norms are callous. You know what? Yeah. Yeah. When the world tells you to be cruel, to be kind is instead punk. I'm going to tell you that some of this was here before Superman. We're just focusing in on it. Kindness, honestly, actually, I can probably connect this. Yeah. So I'm actually gonna connect this here. I don't know if I can connect these nodes. Can I? Can I? Can I do that? No? No, I can't do that. Okay, we're gonna cut that then. That doesn't need to be its own thing. Alright, we're starting to have a plot board already. Jeez. Okay. We're gonna follow up on that in a bit. Right now we're all talking concept and we're not talking plot. We're talking concept and philosophy, but we're making all of our core tenets for where we're gonna jump off of here. And so that's our being punk is being kind, being punk is not whatever I was about to say. Oh, I can make another one. Do I really? I'm very glad to hear that. I am in fact being rather thoughtful. I'm thinking much. My thoughts is full. Are you all liking my Cyberpunk background? We're actually listening to the music I use for the game right now, but we're gonna listen to some other stuff that I'm like, as I listen to music while I write for the game, and then play it over the game, because I am an unbelievably strong believer in having music present in your tabletop sessions. And I'm going to be like auditioning, quote unquote, new music probably while we're writing, because I have some ideas for other stuff I want to pop in. I am definitely taking suggestions because all this feeds back into the game itself. Let us see. So I do that to add another one. Ooh, I understand. I don't know why I can't learn this like system so well. Resisting the status quo. Crushing corpo punk losers. Ah, now I get it. Yeah, we're kind of looping back around on something over here, but I think that's okay. Unless can I draw a line between them? Connectors, weights. Ah, wait. Ooh, I'm liking this now. Not normals. Yeah, this is pretty self-explanatory. If you want to resist the status quo, crush corpo punk losers, let's note this can be. And then I'm going to do our first offshoot here. You'll see what I mean in a sec. Why don't I strike? Ooh, I can pull those out. That's cool. So, material we'll say is Johnny Silverhand bombing a building, right? But immaterial, I'm actually going to flag now. I'm going to flag this in red because now we're getting into stuff happening at the table. And this was the end result of like the sort of the first leg of our campaign. The first campaign would almost be a way that you could frame it, in that this is now we are not just talking ideas, we're talking actually stuff happening at the table. I would like now to get into straight up spoiler territory for players. Again, final warning. I will tell you, they've probably still been watching because they knew that I would yap about like philosophy for a while. I have had an idea of where I want the second half, what am I saying? I'm going to run Cyberpunk as long as they'll let me. They can pry the system from my cold dead hands. The theme I want for our next run is horror. I want to go spooky. I want to go spooky. I want to go, but I'm just, we need to take it back to a conceptual level, because I'm struggling with how to materialize. Horror at a table is very tricky. So this is like, here we have our general themes, and here we're going to have themes again, but horror at a table is very, very, very difficult. I don't know. I am committed to doing it, however, because if you have a good idea, do it. So there's a bunch of different angles for this that we can go. Sometimes gross. Anxious. Bringing out words. We're just bringing out words that strike us, but also not unknown. That's not the right. Maybe ambiguous. And so now we're going to flag something for the table. I want us to have something that the players can solve. And eventually they're going to need something they can shoot at. But I don't want to answer everything. What is that Alan Wake quote? No. It's the Alan Wake Stephen King quote. Nightmares exist outside of logic, and there's little fun to be had in explanations. They're antithetical to the poetry of fear. Opening quote of Alan Wake. I feel like whenever something is left unsolved, dependent upon the mystery, it implies a larger, unknowable world. The fear gently lingers. This isn't going to be a horror campaign, but the storyline's going to have themes of it. But it's also... I am not going to be able to write Cyberpunk Haunting of Hill House, but I do feel like, once again, we're getting into actions here, but I do feel like it might be a guiding star here. Okay. All right, I feel like I'm feeling something on this. Let's get to work on this. What are the great and terrible things that can happen to a person in the cyberpunk setting? You can be like betrayed by a corporation. All right, let's put together a few. I'm gonna be betrayed by a corp. Ooh, shit, I think I might have it. Okay, let's... Oh, I love this track. We're gonna loop this track for a little bit, bear with me. This track's sexy as hell. Okay. Okay, shit, I think I totally know it. Okay. That might be it. We're gonna mark that because I think that's my likeliest one. Now, let's keep digging into that. We'll say... Okay. We're pulling on lore here. We're pulling on universe here. I think... What is a... so I have a fear of ghosts. And I think that I need to... I think that I can do a ghost story. Yeah, okay, let's dig in on that. Let's dig in on that. Shh. I got it. Okay, here we go. There is one thing that I think is the single scariest part of Cyberpunk lore. And I think I was waiting to use it. Stop. Ooh, we're cooking. And I'd like to note something now. This is something that I thought of digging into, or just that I really like in Cyberpunk lore, and I've never, ever, ever thought to touch myself. And that is the Black Wall. Oof, of course things would be clicking right as I hit this track. I'm crazy about this track. Ooh. Also, I'll hush vibe with the track for a little bit. I gotta just like focus up on notes for a second. I'll be back with you in a moment. Okay. So, this is it. We got it. We got it. In Cyberpunk lore, of course we start with our backstory, and that's how we get here. The internet crashed, and rogue AIs flooded the world and flooded cyberspace. Sorry, I'm buzzing with ideas now. Can you tell this is the worst yapping I've ever done? And so net authorities basically set about walling off a chunk of the internet so that the AI could go have their own space and would no longer be patrolling, roaming, and quite dangerously occupying the internet that we access. And what they put the AIs behind is called the Black Wall. However, There's two things about the black wall that I've always thought are unfucking-leavably cool. One of them is, it is implied in some corners of cyberpunk lore that unbeknownst to the rest of society, the AIs helped authorities build the black wall. Why would they do that? The implication is that they actually want their space to go play, and no one has any idea what is going on back there. And so there's theoretically AI roaming in the net beyond what we're able to comprehend, who are beyond any concept we could come up with of what an AI is capable of. So these are kind of the same thought. We actually know the answer to this question. So we're gonna map these together. Can I add a label? Yeah. No, I want these to be dots, I think. Yeah, let's have them be dots. Cool. So our answer is going to start here. We actually have an answer to these. One netrunner ended up beyond the black wall. Actually, let me check my lore on that. I forgot her full name's Altiera. Okay. Yes, I knew it. I knew it. Okay. So, one netrunner ends up behind it in cyberpunk lore, and you actually do find out what's up with her in 2077, and she's kind of lost all sense of personhood, even if there is a little bit of herself still inside of her. So we're going deep on tragedy. We found it. Oh, we found it. So this is her, but I want a different answer. And maybe the difference is that Alt is behind the black wall. She is a netrunner who has surrendered to this space governed by rogue AI. This is the crucial thing, I think. Let me see. I don't want to drop a word until I confirm. Let's go. I want to create. We need to start a new map. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. Our ultimate villain of the second part. Okay, we're about to Pepe Sylvia the hell out of this thing. Jeez. Okay. Pure red. Latex. Okay. The ultimate villain of our second part is going to be a kind of cyber revenant. What happens to a person who comes back? The answer is that they do not return in human form, but they do not get out of here. They do not entirely lose their sense of self. They instead become a sort of a thing from beyond, and a cyber revenant is the term we're going to use here, because I think it's such a perfect, like, 1980s horror movie ass name for this kind of setting. All right, what are traits? Stop. Oh, wow, okay. Okay. So let's start carving backstory. Yeah. All right, we're gonna do one more listen to this, and then I'll keep cycling, okay? How to get there? This kind of applies to both these things. If the person was an asshole, then it's not really a tragedy, is it? Then essential I want you to go here, thank you. Ooh, I can just hit enter and make another? Okay. And then... is he consciously taking action? Alright. Answered that one. Which is kind of funny. It might be easier to figure out what it's trying to do. Alright, this was someone who did not end up there. So the usual netrunner is, especially in this time period, is a daredevil. Many believe themselves just shy of divinity, honestly. And becoming this powerful, ascending to robot, ascending to AI is something that many runners would like. And so as a result, it's not really tragic if he wanted to be that. If he pushed too far and became a revenant. I'm into it. I understand if the name's a little cringe, but I mean, I don't care. This is, I mean, this is a system so informed by 80s hair metal that I want to see the Metallica album. Not Metallica, actually. I want to see the Megadeth album called this. I should probably listen to some metal to prep for it. We won't do that on stream, lest Lars Ulrich try to kill me. We're getting into material stuff I'm going to need to refer back to when we're writing. Am I going to do this for all of them? Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So they were cracking a system, maybe. Okay, let's fold AIs into their backstory here. No, because they can't cross the black wall. No, they can't cross the black wall. Do I want to violate this? It's a bit of lore that rogue AIs are on the other side of the black wall. And they don't come over to our side. I can have a rogue AI be the inciting incident. Maybe something that he stumbled upon, and then it like grabbed his soul and took him back across the black wall, kind of using cyberpunk terminology and lore to piece together a very traditional Greek-ass soul dragged down to Hades that didn't deserve to be dragged there. But at the same time, this requires me bending a tenet of the lore. And to be clear, I'm like fine with doing that. It's just this one person came back from this space of AI battered and broken down to their soul. And only they have ever come back is more compelling and haunting than him and also a bunch of other programs. Yeah, let's not do it. I'm gonna need to do some lore documents. You hang out a little bit. Enjoy the music of Neon White for a second. I'm going to do a lore dive and see what I uncover. That kind of pisses me off, actually. In Phantom Liberty, the 2077 DLC, you can get a power that opens miniature Blackwall gateways to, like, commune with rogue AIs and get them to sort of, like, suck enemies' souls into it, which is great insofar as it's such, like, a magic spell sort of thing. Like, communing with demons is ultimately what it's able to evoke. Oh, shit. Shit. That's it. Okay. Let's just, I need to include a little note to myself. Wait. This story is not interesting if they're just freaking programs. That's not, like, interesting to anyone. Alright, I love you a lot. Neon light, but we need to like... Hey, that's very chill. But these are like the demons of this universe. That's where they're supposed to. It is like a person. It is like our person when they were a person went to hell. All right. So yes. Okay. Rogue AI do not cross the black wall, but they have in spots communicated across it. Get out of here. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. I don't really like requested. Yeah. Okay. I got it. And like the accident, the word accidentally is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. But sometimes you just need to have a plot contrivance to make a story happen. Okay. And that's okay. Okay. Ooh, the Revenant feels good. No wonder Night Rain goes for that name. All comes back to swords and sorcery, huh? So, what is it trying to do? Stop. Wait, get back over here. Get back over here. I will tell you when you are taking up too much space. You are not taking up too much space right now. But I will let you know when that happens. I'm trying to get somewhere. Alright, you ready to really Pepe Sylvia this? Yeah! Yeah, this is what I want. Okay, you ready? You ready? You ready? You're gonna say this is a cop-out, and I'm gonna tell you to go screw yourself. Okay? Okay. You're gonna tell me that's a cop-out. And I'm gonna tell you, check the friggin' board. Brother. Because... Shut up. Wait, get out of there. Wait, why do I keep clicking that? I believe we agreed we would do something. Yeah. Yeah. All right. We brought the tragedy back around to the ambiguity. Yeah. That's a full circle, baby. Oh, that feels good. Okay. Alright, let's make another one. You can be in a more sane place. So... You go there. You go there. Ooh, I'm treating myself to watching some F1 qualifiers I missed out on after this. Let's see. So I think this is where we get maybe our most noir. And let's see. So let's just have it kill a whole bunch of people. Okay. And let's... We're gonna have a kill a whole... Because it's just easy. It's just easy. It's easy and it's intense, and I'll like describe some really... Yeah, we're doing what I want to do. We're moving in the direction I want to go. It'll make sense in a sec. Dude, freaking stop. But I'll just like describe some scenes of people really, really messed up. And like, in fact, we're gonna toss a pink on this. For our first pink one will not be very pink in tone. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Wait, so we get the gross, we get the anxious. Ooh, okay, I like that a lot. Alright, so let's get ourselves another Pepe Sylvia level string. Oh, we got more, we got more, we got more, we got more, we got more. We brought it back around. Oh no, yeah. Ooh, this is getting crazy. Ooh, this is getting crazy. I love it. Okay. Alright, this is good. This is good. And you may be like, where does the tabletop campaign come in? We're a long ways away from that. We're a long ways away from that. I'm having some water. You should have some water. Definitely have some water. I also got a little bit of fudge. I went to a convention over the weekend, and for some reason, conventions have fudge sellers pretty often now. And chocolate is very good thinking. Snickers. I'll turn mic down while I chew. I don't like mouth sounds. So, we aren't going to find out what the ultimate plan that any of this works up towards is. But there should be a rhyme or reason. And to be honest, it's all the better if I know what the ultimate plan is and it's just never revealed at the table. And then I just kind of measure out. Even if you don't tell people what the answers are, you should still have the freaking answers. Because that makes a more cohesive universe. And if I have all the answers, then I can just measure out where I stop. I just stop at the point where people have gotten a complete story and they're hungry for just a little bit more and they can't know. Okay. We're really, really, really close. I'm not... This is not it. But I have an idea. Maybe you'll see where I'm going with this. Right? Where am I going with this? So this means that the people being affected by this are people in low-income housing. And this spurs our heroes to action because they're true punks. And a true punk will be spurred to action by the point we started this entire freaking board on. Do you see the brilliance of this? Do you see why we hammered this out in the beginning? We have looped back around an hour later to reinforce one of our core tenets with the stakes of the conflict we're doing. This is why you establish your core tenets, because you can then fold your narrative right back into it. So, why is this a cyberpunk storyline? Because the most punk thing that you can possibly do is be kind and protect communities that have nowhere else to turn, who the authorities won't have their back. Who do the authorities not have the back of? People dying in low-income housing. Players are going to be interested in trying to help people who are in danger there because it's the right thing to do, but it's also the punk thing to do, to be there for your communities. And in the process, they're going to then follow our trail all the way down, encountering awful, brutal, terrible crime scenes, being haunted by spooky images, finding like buildings and buildings full of bodies, and trailing their way down to this evil, creepy figure. And then, when they investigate the evil, creepy figure, they encounter this whole story about a netrunner who went too far, but they do not, along the way, ever get a full understanding of what the Blackwall and the rogue AI involved wants. It's creepy, it's tragic, it's upsetting, because once again, to review, we actually have another of our tenets here, which is the tragedy. This is sad. This is a not good thing happening. However, if we take a look at the core tenets of our tone at our table, if we look at or at least like the values, if you look at the core tenets of horror, as far as I find it rewarding and interesting, at least, we have this terrible, awful thing. I am going to, in this storyline, have to write a lot of people very dead who very don't deserve it. However, it reinforces our core tenets. It reinforces that our heroes are true punks who have the backs of their community, and it reinforces that everything needs to come back to this being a tragedy. Michael McCann, great work. Oh, I'm really happy with this. I think the really gonna like this. I think the table's really gonna like this. We can include a corp note here, I think. What exactly is special about the buildings we definitely don't have yet. But bring us back to UNATCO. Ooh, I've got a good hook there. So the question we definitely have to answer is what is making the AI interested in these particular communities? And the communities being the victims is essential, as we've confirmed, to multiple different core tenets of our storytelling here. We need to answer why it needs to target those communities. But the fact that this is low-income night city housing for people, let's have it so whatever that thing is, and I feel like we're just at the edge of getting it, whatever the thing is that makes this interesting to an AI, a corpo let's have it be a guy, not an entire company, just so we can keep it still street level, so we can have like one dude knew of the thing that has made this interesting or valuable, didn't want anything to do with it. I need to do the most corpo-ass corpo thing possible, and dropped his interest in it and the properties, instead branding them as... Oh, this is so gross. So this is excellent because this gives us a material antagonist. Oh, Thank you so much for commenting so Twitch doesn't get mad. I really appreciate it. I'm not too worried about whether or not Twitch gets mad, but I appreciate that you are, and they're welcome to get as mad at me as they like. That's so funny. A friend is asking if I can keep this stream up so they can review the VOD later, but I have kind of allowed myself to listen to music that might be DMCA'd. Mafia stream overlays. I don't think I care. Sorry, I just like got a warning and I was worried like the DMCA music was coming already. So I don't know, maybe I'll record the video. Maybe I can like make a privated thing. But anyway, thank you for the comment. I gotta think about this. But yeah, this is something that like Mass Effect gets really well, as it has like eldritch antagonists, but they always have like a dude that you can shoot a shotgun at. And Cyberpunk is not really... It will ultimately be resolved with shooting a dude in the face with a shotgun, but this doesn't need to be the primary thing, you know? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what this means. What does this mean? I'm not inviting friends here. I'm writing with my friends right now. Okay. We're really... Alright, this sucks ass. We're getting rid of that. Let's vibe with music again. Let's do another moment for you to vibe with the music while I do a quick lore dive. Sound good? And I'm gonna eat some more fudge. Okay. I think... I think we got it. I think we got more than that. Okay, we got it. So, there is such a thing as ghost towns on the net. And ghost towns are hidden areas located through the old net. These provide sanctuary to digitized consciousnesses. They all link back to a generalized ghost world made up of a computer network based out of the ruins of Hong Kong. So these have an unusually strong link to that network and have been flooded with ghosts, and ghosts are a concept here. Stop running off my screen. Okay. Yeah, I feel good about this. This is a battle with ghosts over the ghost world. Ghost World is such a cool name for an AI thing to have. Can I just color all of them entirely? Alright, we're gonna... Okay. None of this solves the core issue of how I make stuff at the table scary, which is hard. But that may just need to come down to... I'm like highlighting all the stuff I'll need to actually like write. We haven't answered what it can do, but we sort of. I don't know. I don't like that this ended up all the way over here. We have successfully made a conspiracy-ass conspiracy board, though, so I feel pretty happy about that. think you can come back over. Really? Man, the like hitboxes on these things. Okay, I love you, but we don't need more of that. We're just gonna go with some chill synthwave, yeah? Sound good to you guys? Yes, that is correct. You cannot make out any notes at all from here without... No, you just can't make out any notes at all. And we have indeed made the screen look like a spider web. But a spider web I'm pretty proud of. We've got some stuff here I'm happy with. Okay. There's a lot of good stuff, but I think I have a little more. Okay. You ready to dive back in? Here we go. Let's dive back in. So... we're kind of answering these already, so let's prune these. And this one is easy because this is a concept that does actually exist in this lore. Now it's pretty much resolved, huh? Jeez. So let's pop a little connector on these. Drag you over to there. Yeah. Okay. All right. I feel good about that. And these two being near each other helps. So see, I almost said the shell. Almost said shell, but I resisted. If you have played 2077 at all, this is a concept that's in the game. It's a concept that's been in the book for a while. Which is if a person gets soul killed, their soul is turned into data and could theoretically be plugged into another body. They've basically made a ghost in the shell. And that's really cool, but I kind of don't want to do a soul killer storyline necessarily. I just want this to be a function of our cyber revenant. However, this will help us, I think. I'm gonna link up these two now. We're at the point where we can do a bunch of connectors, which means our ideas are coalescing, which is very exciting. The fact that the connectors are, that we have so many connectors means that ideas we set up earlier are getting tied off and enriched by each other. So, honestly, I think this is probably... Ah, yeah, I think I'm onto something here. We need that last note so that we have, like, gore and corpses and violence and stuff, which is always important. You need something, like, visceral. It can't just be emotional. So, I'm sticking to that. I feel good about... Not feel good about, but I feel like that's... I feel like that'll be, like, a striking image. No, not explodes. Everything needs to be this color. I'm going to include... Actually, a vignette. Keep in mind. We're at the point where I can start conceiving of... honestly, tableau is probably a better word. Are we still in bold? I don't want to be. Oh no, here we go, here we go, here we go. Yeah, okay, I think that's gonna be disturbing. I think that's gonna be nerve-wracking. We want to just, like, and we can do this everywhere. Like, anytime they go to investigate one of these, we can just detonate one of these images. And for tableaus and scripted narrative moments, I like to write them out in advance. I want to include an extra note here of... Did I spell it wrong? Is the E there? No. So this idea of a few netrunners may have poked around, come upon a connection with the ghost town, and this allowed them to see what nobody else could, which doesn't mean it saved them. It means that they saw their death coming. So, like, occasionally there will be a netrunner, and it's not every netrunner, but occasionally there will be a netrunner in these crime scenes who hacked into the ghosts, these, like, ghost towns. And as a result, this gave them the ability to see the ghost coming for them. Okay. Okay. Hmm. We've got a lot here. I want to touch on one note, which is the nightmare concept. Because you can do something akin to a nightmare in the form of brain dances. Brain dances, in the lore of Cyberpunk, are recordings of a person's entire sensory experience. And they like pop on equipment to record. And what's recorded is their feelings, all of their senses, their emotions, as it is in that moment. And if you view a brain dance, it hooks into your systems, so it's an all-encompassing experience, basically living out what they lived out, feeling what they felt, etc. By 2077, this is really big business. And like action, like all TVs and action movies and everything are experienced this way. So I've been thinking that to do an occasional nightmare sequence, we could do these if players come upon spooky brain dances, but we've actually wrapped around and have our idea. God, we're cooking now. So effectively, so now we have someone managed to record these. And so I want to link this to this. So what if we have some storylines where like a storyline where the players have gone to a few of these crime scenes, they know what to look out for, but this time they find a netrunner spooked and with a huge pile of maybe they don't have a pile of brain dances. Maybe we work backwards. But either way, we set ourselves up to do found footage horror via people finding this footage, but it's so much worse than found footage horror because they're living it out, they're feeling it, they're being haunted, and this opens the door potentially to have the ghost now lock on to whatever player was slotted the brain dance. So let's have two notes here. So, players can find out about this extremely weird thing in the environment, and if they chase it down, now, the only thing about this is that this does make my job complicated. Because if players are going through a ton of them, which they're going to need to, I'm going to want it to be like wearing them down, all of the found footage brain dances they're going through. As they're going through these, I'm going to need to have written a heck of a lot of them to feel like they're going through a sea of them. That is a lot of work, but that's the job. No. There we go. There is an empathy stat in this. And I can mess with it by having players ding their humanity by looking into these crime scenes too deeply. Because they're intentionally violent and upsetting. But also, I like the idea that people who are more empathetic might experience these, like, quote-unquote found footage brain dances, and then their sense of empathy causes them to be more strongly affected by it. Okay. We have covered a lot. I think this can be 2? I think this can be 2 years of my life. I think this is good enough to be 2 years of my life. Considering I came into this stream knowing this word, knowing this was the theme I wanted, and nothing else. I had this, I had my core tenets of the setting and the story and the world, and in 90 minutes we made this, and this is going to be a story I tell for the next 2 years of my life, and I feel really, really, really good about that. We do, of course, need to solve how we beat it if we do. And the answer for any ghost story is, of course, not corporate, not corporate. That was one of our core tenets. Not corporate, street level. Yep. Because these are the communities that they need to be punks and defend. This is what it's about. These are the people who need punks to protect them. I know exactly what we'll do. We come back to material and immaterial. We link multiple stories at once because we have made a meat space villain and a cyberspace villain. Damn, this is good. Damn, this is good. Okay. And then meanwhile, so we have Meat Space party members doing cool, badass John Wick or Splinter Cell shit to go after our individual shitty corpo guy. And then we have our cyberspace party members, at least a Netrunner. We got it. And that's our climax. That is the final conflict. Once the party has learned these things, I can trigger the ticking clock on the Cyber Revenant's plans. I love how 80s that name is, man. I love how 80s that name is. And then we split the party in two with the ticking clock. Our Meat Space party. Our Meat Space party members go do John Wick Splinter Cell shit against a shitty, terrible corpo guy. And our cyberspace party member goes and does wild, haunted shit, evading ghosts as they try to execute the final override. Ticking clock on both of them. Their ticking clock is the general one of the Revenant getting what it wants and flooding districts. But also the ticking clock of their cyberspace party members not being discovered and obliterated. Maybe they fail, is the thing. Because they can also fail, and then this can just be a terrifying fact of their universe. But then once they succeed, they'll have stopped this. But what will happen is they won't understand the ultimate intentions or nature of the rogue AI. But here we go. Here contains our climactic, probably 2-3 sessions. We got it. Okay. There we go. Narratively, we now have a campaign. We have successfully broken this season, in a way, of story. Fully broken. All right. Well, how did your work come out? Did it come out good? I hope it did. This was quite productive for me, I'll tell you that for free. I think that planning out the next 2-3 years of my creative life in an hour 49 is a pretty good turnaround, if you ask me. So I think I am ready to call it there. But hey, we wrote some cool stuff, conceived some cool stuff. When we get to actually like writing prose and designing sessions, I may do another one of these. This was nice. This helped me focus. And I hope you had a good time, and I hope you made something cool too. So this was a wild experiment for a stream, but I have honestly had a pretty good time. And to be honest, I always just have a pretty good time when I'm hanging out with you. So I think I am going to pop off for now. I'm going to treat myself to some more of my chocolate. And I hope you made something cool along with me. And if you did, or you're watching a VOD and you did, shoot me a message on socials to let me know what you made, because you just saw a lot of my dirty secrets. For now, I have been your Raven Wing, everybody. It is time for me to go.